Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, Catholic pilgrims. Thank you for coming to listen to this episode today. We are reading from Book 11, Chapter 26, on page 274. Does my soul speak the truth to you when I say that I can measure time? I do indeed measure it, but I do not know what I measure. By means of time, I measure the movement of bodies. Does this not mean that I measure time itself? Could I measure the movement of a body? That is, measure how long the movement lasted and how long the body took to move between 2 points, unless I measured the time in which it moved. If this is so, what means do I use to measure time? Do we measure longer periods of time by means of shorter ones, as we measure yards by means of feet? This is how we measure the duration of a long syllable, for we compare it with a short one and conclude that it is twice as long. We use the same method when we measure the length of a poem by the lengths of the lines of the lines by the lengths of the feet by the lengths of the syllables, and the lengths of the long syllables by the lengths of the short ones. We do not measure them by pages. That would give us a measurement in terms of space, not time, but by the pronunciation as they are read. This enables us to say, this is a long poem, because it consists of so many lines. The lines are long because they each consist of so many feet. The feet are long because they each contain so many syllables. This or that syllable is long because it is the double of a short one. Even so, this is not an accurate means of measuring time, because it can happen that a short line spoken slowly may take longer to recite than a long one spoken hurriedly. The same applies to a whole poem, a foot, or even a single syllable. It seems to me then that time is merely an extension, though of what it is an extension, I do not know. I begin to wonder whether it is an extension of the mind itself. Tell me, my God, I beseech you, what is it that I am measuring when I say, either by rough computation, that one period of time is longer than another, or, with more precision, that it is twice as long? I know that I am measuring time, but I am not measuring the future because it does not yet exist, nor the present because it has no extent, nor the past because it no longer exists. Am I measuring time which is in process of passing, but has not yet passed? This was the suggestion which I put forward before. Okay, so if you're like me, you probably haven't really thought about how we got our measurements for time too much. Sure, you know that a year is 365 days. You know that a day is 24 hours, but why 24 hours? Why not 20 hours or 30 hours? So initially, time was ordered, as Genesis states, by light and by dark, meaning day and night. And our year is based off of how long it takes to make a revolution around the sun, which initially was based off of looking at constellations in the sky and how long it took them to get back into like an original position. Our day is based off of how long it takes for the earth to make a turn on its axis. But why did that get based off of 24 hours? Well, the ancient Egyptians would like a word. They counted a 12-hour daytime based off of the joints in your fingers, not including your thumb. So if you look at your fingers, you see that you have 3 joints on each one. And if you hold your hand flat, you can use your thumb to count those 12 joints. So 12 joints on each hand, and you get 24. The problem with the Egyptians was they didn't have those hours measured at the same amount of time, so it was a little wonky. But enter the Babylonians. They worked with the number 360 because that is the measurement of a circle all the way around, and rotations and revolutions are circular, and 360 can be divided up easier than 100, believe it or not. They also liked the number 60 because it has a lot of factors, meaning 2 goes into 60, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12. So that is how we got our hours measured by 60 minutes, and our minutes got measured by 60 seconds. It might all sound very complicated, and how that all exactly fits together, I'm not exactly sure, but these are the numbers that we've come up with and that we settled on. Anyway, everything got based off of those two main organizations of time, using the number 12 and 60, and 12 all because of our fingers. So it is a bit arbitrary in a way. I mean, the ancient Egyptians could have just used 10, having 10 fingers, but they chose to use the joint segments instead. But we decided to work a day off of having 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. If we organized by any other number, we actually could, but this is what we know now, and it works. And if we even tried to change that up, oh my gosh, that would be pandemonium, and I don't want to do that. So let's not let's not break a good thing. Anyway, it still is kind of weird that we measure time at all, and that's why St. Augustine is struggling with understanding it. Time is the measurement of change, and you just can't grab it and see it. And so how do you actually measure it? But that is your time lesson for today, Catholic Pilgrims. We will stop here. I hope you will join me tomorrow, and until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.